சி ஜோசப் விஜய் எனும் நான் தமிழ்நாட்டு அரசின் முதலமைச்சர் என்ற முறையில் எனது கவனத்திற்குள்ளாவதும் தெரிய வருவதுமான எந்த பொருளையும் முதலமைச்சரின் கடமைகளை உரியவாறு நிறைவேற்ற தேவையான அளவுக்கன்றி ஒருவரிடமோ பலரிடமோ நேர்முகமாகவோ மறைமுகமாகவோ அறிவிக்கவோ வெளிப்படுத்தவோ மாட்டேன் என்று ஆண்டவன் மீது ஆணையிட்டு உறுதிமொழிகிறேன்.
On the 10th of May, a man who spent the last 30 years making films walked into the Nehru Stadium in Chennai and was sworn in as the 14th Chief Minister of the state of Tamil Nadu. His party, the TVK, was formed 27 months ago. This was their first election. They won 108 seats and ended 59 years of Dravidian dominance in one fell swoop. Everyone is talking about why this happened. I want to talk about how. I specifically want to cover how the campaign communicated throughout it all. Because this is one of the most complete case studies in how brand building, fandom, and campaign communication actually work. Every analysis you will read starts with the 2026 election as its starting point. They're off by about 30 years. Since the 1990s, Vijay's fan clubs were doing something that looked like ordinary celebrity fandom on the surface. But look at what they were actually doing. Blood donation camps, flood relief, food distribution during crises, community welfare programs across Tamil Nadu cities, towns and villages. By the time TVK launched in February 2024, there were an estimated 85,000 fan club chapters across the state, each with an organizer, each organizer knowing their neighborhood, each neighborhood having at some point received some genuine community support. When TVK needed booth-level agents for the campaign, the local operatives who actually run elections on ground, they didn't need to recruit them. Those hands were already raised. Political scientists call this social capital, the trust built through consistent, genuine community presence. Here's the principle that they've used. It applies to every brand, creator, or startup in this economy. The distribution that you need for your biggest moment is the community that you're building right now. In 2024, when India held its Lok Sabha elections, TVK chose not to contest. This decision confused a lot of spectators. But in retrospect, this was one of the most strategic decisions of the entire campaign. This signaled, whether consciously or not, that TVK was trying to build something rather than grab something. In the political landscape where political parties rush into elections without enough groundwork or support, this restraint read as seriousness. It also gave the TVK 2 more years to build its organizational network and sharpen its ideology. It also allowed more time for the political vacuum in Tamil Nadu to deepen before stepping into it. And that vacuum was real. The voters were fatigued with 59 years of the same binary choice. TVK's conscious absence converted that vacuum into demand. The principle here is that knowing when not to move is just as strategically important as knowing when to move. When absence is clearly and consciously orchestrated, it can actually be more powerful than presence. I want to talk about a word that dominated every analysis of this campaign. The word every journalist, every political observer, and every voter on social media reached for. Aura. Now, Vijay appeared rarely. There were no endless roadshows, no daily soundbites, and no morning show circuits. In an election where every politician competed to be seen more, TVK competed to be seen better. And the internet did something entirely predictable with that scarcity. It made every appearance feel like an event. A 90-second speech fragment clipped from a rare public appearance shared organically through 85,000 fan club WhatsApp groups reached an audience that no media budget could match. And because it was rare, people felt it was worth sharing. Daily would have been noise. Rare was signal. Aura is not mystical. The mechanism is precise. When someone appears constantly, they become wallpaper. When they appear rarely and with intention, every appearance carries some weight. You lean in rather than scroll past. This is understood in luxury branding. A Rolex ad never shouts. The creator economy is slowly catching up to this as well. The most effective large accounts post less frequently than you'd expect. TVK, of course, applied it to a state election campaign. The internet called it vibe politics. What they were describing was scarcity plus trust plus intention equals signal.
Tamil cinema has developed one of the most sophisticated fan engagement systems in the world. A major Collywood release doesn't just advertise, it builds anticipation. Control leaks time to maintain conversation, teasers drop for maximum social amplification, whistle moments designed to be clipped and redistributed, hashtag campaigns that feel organic but are actually serious, and fan clubs treating the release as a collective cultural event that they actually participate in. TVK imported this entire framework into political communication. Reels, fan edits, whistle-themed moments, teaser-style campaign videos, AI-generated visuals, hologram projections at events that turned physical appearances into content.
Here's why this was precise rather than just creative. The voters TVK needed the most, the first-time voters, the Gen Zs, the young women, were already completely fluent in this language. A 19-year-old first-time voter in Tamil Nadu had grown up watching fan clubs treat film releases as cultural events. She knows the grammar of a whistle moment. She knows what it means when a clip spread through WhatsApp rather than being pushed through an official channel means. When political content arrives in that register, it doesn't feel like politics. It feels like culture. And content that feels like culture gets shared and advertising gets scrolled. The principle here is simple. Don't ask your audience to translate your content into their language. Arrive speaking it. Here's part of this campaign that almost no analysis covers properly. It wasn't Instagram or X or YouTube, but WhatsApp. In Tamil Nadu, as in much of India, WhatsApp is where political opinion actually forms and spreads at the neighborhood level. It's invisible to external measurements because you can't count likes and shares. And because analysts can't measure it, they end up underweighing it. That's the mistake. The TVK had 85,000 fan club chapters, each with their own groups. Each group with members who trusted the people sending them content because those relationships had been built over years of community activity and not manufactured for one election. And the content moving through those groups wasn't just official campaign material being forwarded to one another. It was adapted and contextualized by local volunteers who understood their own constituencies, their specific issues, and spread them in their specific dialects. That content arrived in formats native to how that community already received information. This is a classic example of central narrative and decentralized execution. The people closest to the audience adapted the message for their specific context. I call this a federated content model. It's how the best media operations in the world work. It's how the best creator economy platforms enable their top creators. They provide the infrastructure, give them the permission to do what they wish, and they trust the network. TVK basically ran a creator economy campaign and called it politics. So what happened on Saturday at Nehru Stadium? On the surface, a constitutional ceremony. But look at the communication layer of it. The venue wasn't a formal government hall. It was a stadium, built for scale and spectacle, for filming, clipping, and for the kind of visuals that 85,000 fan club chapters share simultaneously across every platform. And then there was the oath itself. For 59 years, a Dravidian political tradition rooted in Periyar's rationalist philosophy kept God out of the oath of office. DMK governments, AIADMK governments, all of them maintained that secular grammar. Vijay reintroduced the mention of God in his oath on the 10th of May. I'm not going to tell you whether that's right or wrong. That's not what this is for. But I will tell you what it communicates. It is a deliberate break from 59 years of established political aesthetic, made in the most public format possible, watched by everyone who would immediately recognize the departure. The form of the oath said something before a single policy was announced. That is exactly what we've been discussing this entire video. Form communicating before content does. In this case, even taking power was a communication act.
The numbers: 108 seats, the single largest party, first election, 35% popular vote, 85.1% turnout, the highest in Tamil Nadu's recorded history. 27 months from founding to chief minister, 30 years from a fan club to a government.
Here's the thing I want to leave you with. The campaign that produced what you saw on May 10th didn't start in 2024. It didn't start with a war room or a strategy consultant or a media buy. It started in the 1990s with blood donation camps, with disaster relief, with 85,000 people showing up for their communities before anyone asked them to show up for a political party. Build your distribution before you need it. Use scarcity deliberately. Speak the cultural language your audience already lives in. Build a federated content model. Use technology as an identity signal and play the long game. Every single one of these works outside Tamil Nadu in politics. Any brand, startup, or creator trying to build something real can use this too. The full written breakdown of this is also on my Medium. I'll link it down below. If this kind of analysis is useful to you, consider subscribing. There'll be a new breakdown every week on campaign culture.